Gillian Merron, if I could start with you, what's the case for government investing more in money, particularly when it's under such pressure to make cost cuts?
Well, that's the very reason to invest in buses and coaches, in my view. You get a tremendous return for the money that you put in. For a relatively low investment, you can make a huge change. If you reduce journey times for buses, what we know, and there's a fantastic study being done recently of businesses in Leeds, of the amount of return you get in terms of far greater returns on productivity if you can reduce journey times to work by getting buses moving quicker. So if you can, for example, bring in bus priority measures, which is what passengers are looking for, but also bus companies are looking for, you can make such a difference. And bus travel, it helps with regeneration, it helps with boosting the economy, it helps with tackling congestion. I mean, it's got to be a win-win all the way round.
Robert, if you accept the government's correct proposition that support for transport is the best way to drive the economy, the smart move, if you're worried about speed and getting the economy moving, is put the money into buses. Because, they're always looking for shovel-ready projects. We're ignition-ready. We just have to turn the key on the bus, and we're ready to roll out that capacity that can help people get to work, people get to the shops. Some of these big projects we invest in, and we benefit from them, and I'm in favor of them, but they take 5 to 7 years to get on the ground. It's the bus industry that can get this economy moving fastest.
What about business? Isn't there an argument that perhaps they could chip in too? It shouldn't all be down to the state.
Business pays its way already, and when you look at the number of companies that build new premises and already say, actually, as part of building that new premises, we'll support a bus service or we'll provide a facility, an interchange or a stop, etc., you see businesses already putting their money where their mouth is. I think it would be very unattractive, though, to go to the business community and say, unless you pay for it, we won't provide it. We are a country that has to compete internationally. And unless we have an attractive transport network, which includes some pump priming by the state, we will not be seen as competitive by those who have the resources to bring the jobs and the economic activity to the UK. Good buses, good rail connectivity, and yes, of course, good roads as well, all absolutely critical to making that happen.
Jim, I was going to say, isn't there a bit of a dilemma here, particularly, say, in FirstGroup? You've got buses and you've got rail. Surely it'd be easier to put people on rail, and then you get less congestion on roads.
Well, you need both, absolutely. It is a false choice to say you can have one or the other that you can emphasize, but they have to work together. One statistic that's important for people to keep in mind is that over 10% of the people who use rail get there by a bus. The two systems have to work together. The other fundamental point is, as wonderful as I like to think of the rail system, not everyone has access to it. The rail system doesn't go everywhere. The way most people use public transport is they use the bus. They don't have the opportunity to go to a local train station to get to the high street. It's the bus network they've got to use. And it's really support for that industry that needs to come first, because, as I said before, 2/3 of all public transport users are getting on a bus.
And the other truth, Robert, is that the competition isn't between bus and rail, it's between bus and the car. And our competitor is the car. We need to remind car drivers that actually car driving isn't always a picnic by any means, and that actually the bus is infinitely more efficient. If you're in Brighton and you see the bus sailing past as it takes a bus priority route to get you to where you want to be, and it's a great offer, you'll want to do it. You see, the best advert for the bus is the bus itself.
And pointing out that the competition is the car. It's one thing to ask for more support for buses for a lot of good social reasons, but the worst of all worlds is to make it even harder for buses. So if you're going to reduce the fuel duty rebate, technically what's happening is you're raising taxes on buses. And if from a stable base, what you're saying to the population is, on the margin, get in a car. And that can't be the right message, and it isn't the right message for a very large part of this population.
We live in a country where the actual cost of motoring has decreased in real terms in recent years, whereas the actual cost of using public transport has risen. Anywhere else on the continent, in Japan, in many other countries that have similar levels of density to this one, that simply would not be tolerated. I'm not anti-car, the business community certainly isn't anti-car, but what business people say is reliability and congestion are the key factors that they need to keep in mind. They know that the bus is part of the solution, but they also know that rising fares and pressure really make it difficult to make that choice. So we've got to ensure that we invest not just in the infrastructure but also in the services so that we can have a more level playing field between all modes of transport.